"Dad, please don't come to the school assembly," Emma begged for the third time that morning. "The other kids already think we're weird." Master Sergeant David Patterson looked down at his 12-year-old daughter, seeing the fear and shame in her eyes that no child should carry. For months, she'd been coming home with stories about mean girls that she tried to pass off as normal school drama. But Dave's Special Forces training made him an expert at reading people, and he knew his daughter was being systematically targeted. When the school sent home a flyer asking for veteran volunteers to speak about military service, Dave saw his opportunity. The bullies thought they knew who he was, Emma's scary, weird dad, who walked with a slight limp and sometimes got that 1,000-yard stare. They had no idea they were about to meet Master Sergeant Patterson, recipient of the Distinguished Service Cross, Silver Star, and Bronze Star with Valor. Time for a lesson they'd never forget. Millfield Middle School was the heart of the small town, a typical American school where middle-class families sent their children proud of athletic achievements and academic performance. But like every school, there was a social hierarchy, and at the bottom of that hierarchy were quiet kids like Emma Patterson. Emma Patterson, 12 years old, was intelligent but shy. They'd moved to this town after her father retired. Dave Patterson had wanted a quieter life for his daughter after losing his wife to cancer, moving away from the big city. But small-town life hadn't been as easy as they had expected. Emma's bullies consisted of 3 girls led by Madison Walsh. Madison's father was one of the wealthiest businessmen in town, and this power gave Madison a sense of untouchability within the school. The other 2 girls, Ashley and Brittany, were loyal followers who did everything Madison said. Dave Patterson was a mysterious figure to the townspeople, quiet, polite, but sometimes with very deep, very dark moments in his eyes. People knew he was a veteran, but didn't know the details. And it was better that they didn't know. It all started innocently during Emma's first week. Madison had made fun of Emma's clothes, not expensive brands, just ordinary things. Then Emma's quietness was criticized. Then questions about her father came. "What does your dad do?" Madison asked one day. "He's retired," Emma answered simply. "Retired? How old is he?" "He looks pretty young." Emma didn't want to explain. Her father's military service, his PTSD, the difficult times after losing their mother, these were private things. But Madison's curiosity misinterpreted Emma's secrecy, and misinterpretations turned into malicious gossip. "Emma's dad is definitely unemployed. That weird man always stands in corners, doesn't talk. I bet he just got out of prison." As gossip grew, so did the bullying. Things got serious in November. Madison and her friends cornered Emma in the cafeteria. "Why is your dad so weird?" Madison asked. "Why doesn't he ever smile? Why does he look at people like that?" Emma didn't answer. "I bet he's crazy," Ashley added, "like those soldiers on TV. Their heads are messed up." "Yeah," Brittany laughed. "PTSD or something. He might even hurt his own daughter." These words stabbed Emma's heart like daggers, because her father really was struggling with PTSD, but he was also the most gentle, most loving father. These girls didn't know him. "Do you know your dad killed people in wars?" Madison continued. "That's why his head is messed up, like a killer." Emma's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't cry. She stayed strong like her father had taught her. But the next day, it got even worse. On a cold January day, Emma had to read her essay about her mother in class. It was an emotional piece describing her battle with cancer and how their father stayed strong. After the essay, during break, Madison approached. "So your dad is both crazy and a widower," she said with a smile. "Double loser." This time Emma spoke. "My dad is a hero. You wouldn't understand." "Hero?" Madison laughed loudly. "A losing warrior. What good did the wars he fought do? Nothing. Now he's confused, unemployed, trying to raise a girl alone." These words broke Emma. She ran to the bathroom and cried. And Dave Patterson, picking up his daughter from school that day, saw that she had cried herself to sleep. That evening, Dave talked to his daughter. "Emma, is there a problem at school?" Emma shook her head. "Everything's fine, Dad." But Dave knew his daughter was lying. The observation skills he'd learned in special forces were enough to read his daughter's body language. The next day, Dave saw the flyer from school. Veterans Day Assembly, volunteer speakers needed. He made his decision. "Mr. Patterson, thank you for coming," Principal Williams greeted him in her office. "Your daughter Emma is such a sweet child." Dave smiled politely. "Thank you. I saw the flyer. I'd like to speak at the Veterans Day Assembly." Principal Williams was a bit surprised. She knew Dave as a quiet, withdrawn father. "Of course. Which branch were you in?" "Army, Special Forces." The principal's eyebrows rose. Special Forces was serious business. "How long did you serve?" 20 years, Iraq, Afghanistan, other places." Dave intentionally kept it vague. Some details were still classified. "Wonderful. There are things the children need to learn." Dave nodded. "Yes, there's a lot they need to learn." The Veterans Day Assembly would be held over the weekend. Dave hadn't told Emma. He wanted it to be a surprise. That morning, as Emma went to school, she was anxious. Madison's gang had become more aggressive in recent days, and today the whole school would gather, meaning more audience for potential humiliations. In the gymnasium, students took their seats. Emma tried to sit in the back rows, but Madison found her. "Hey, freak," she whispered. "Did your dad come to watch? Or is he hiding at home again?" Emma didn't answer. Principal Williams took the stage. "Today is a very special day. We're honoring heroes who served our country." Madison giggled with her friends. "Heroes? More like losers." "Our first speaker," Principal Williams continued, "is a local resident. He served 20 years, was in Special Forces. Please welcome Master Sergeant David Patterson." Emma's heart stopped. The figure who took the stage wasn't the dad Emma knew. This was Dave Patterson, Master Sergeant Patterson. His posture was ramrod straight, his gaze sharp, authority in every step. He wore his uniform and ribbons gleamed on his chest. The gymnasium fell silent. The children weren't used to seeing a soldier like this. Madison's mouth fell open. Is that Emma's dad?" Dave approached the microphone. There was no hesitation in his voice. "Good morning, children. My name is Master Sergeant David Patterson. Today I'm going to talk to you about military service." Emma's eyes filled with tears. She'd never seen her father like this, strong, authoritative, commanding. "I served 20 years in Special Forces. I was in the most dangerous places in the world. My mission was simple: protect people." Dave walked across the stage, every step purposeful, every gesture precise. "I served in Iraq, Afghanistan, places I can't even name, because freedom isn't free." "Let me tell you a story," Dave continued. "In 2009, in Afghanistan, in Helmand Province, I was on duty in a small village. The Taliban was trying to control this village." The children listened, mesmerized. "There was an old man in the village, Mr. Mahmoud, 70 years old. The Taliban was threatening to kill him because he was teaching children to read and write." Dave's voice filled with emotion. "We stayed in that village for 2 weeks. We protected Mr. Mahmoud. During those 2 weeks, he taught me something. Courage is not physical strength. Courage is doing the right thing, regardless of consequences." Madison beside Emma was no longer giggling at all. "My wife died of cancer," Dave continued in the silence. "I was serving at the time. I was trying to come home and be a soldier, husband and father, all at once." Everyone in the gymnasium held their breath. "When my wife died, my daughter Emma was 8 years old. I didn't know how to tell her. I didn't know how to stay strong." Emma was now openly crying. "But soldiers don't give up, because we have people to protect. The most important person I protect is my Emma." Dave held the microphone, looking across the auditorium. "Children, I'm going to tell you something important. There are 2 types of people in this world: protectors and those who wait like prey." Madison shifted uncomfortably. "Protectors protect the powerless. Those who wait like prey crush the powerless." Dave's gaze found Madison. "You don't need to wear a uniform to be a soldier. You just need to do what's right to be a protector." "Emma," Dave continued, looking at his daughter, "as your father, I promise you, you are never alone." Then he moved away from the microphone and spoke in a lower voice, but loud enough for everyone to hear. And anyone in this school who tries to harm my daughter should know this. I fought enemies for 20 years. I won't hesitate to protect my daughter. After the assembly ended, everyone looked at Emma differently. She was no longer the weird girl's daughter. She was a hero's daughter. Madison approached, but this time it was different. Emma, she began hesitantly. I'm sorry. Emma was surprised. Your dad is a real hero. I did something stupid. Ashley and Brittany also came and apologized. They said they were just following Madison, that they didn't really know Emma. From that day on, Emma's school life changed. Madison's gang not only left her alone but started protecting her. Other children wanted to be friends with Emma, but the most important change was in Emma. She was no longer ashamed of her father. She was proud of him. On the way home, she asked Dave, "Dad, why didn't you tell me before?" Dave smiled. Because real heroism isn't about showing off. Real heroism is protecting your family every day. A few months later, Emma wrote an article for the school newspaper. My dad is my hero. In the article, she wrote, people think heroes wear capes, but real heroes make breakfast every morning, check homework, and love you unconditionally. My hero doesn't wear a uniform anymore, but he still protects me every day. When Dave read that article, he cried. After 20 years of war, his greatest victory was earning his daughter's pride. Madison Walsh had also changed. She learned to be ashamed of her father, especially after the FBI investigation began. She realized that Emma's father was a man of real honor, and in that small town, people looked at Dave Patterson differently. He was no longer that weird man. He was the hero who protected them. Because sometimes the biggest battles aren't won on battlefields, but in school cafeterias. And sometimes the most important protection is what a father can do for his daughter. Emma had become one of the most popular students in school, not because of her father's fame, but because she'd learned to carry herself with the quiet confidence he'd taught her. Madison Walsh had become Emma's closest friend. The FBI investigation into her father's defense contracting fraud had humbled their entire family. Madison learned the difference between real honor and fake authority. Dave Patterson was asked to become the school's volunteer counselor for military families. Many children in the district had deployed parents, and Dave's experience helped them understand both the pride and the challenges of military life. At the year-end awards ceremony, Emma received the Character and Courage Award. As she walked across the stage, Dave stood and saluted his daughter, not as a military gesture, but as a father honoring his child's growth. The principal announced, "This award goes to a student who showed us that real strength comes not from physical power, but from standing up for yourself while maintaining kindness toward others." Emma looked out at the audience and saw her father's proud smile. She thought about the journey from shame to pride, from hiding to standing tall. In her acceptance speech, she said, "I learned this year that heroes come in all shapes and sizes. Sometimes they wear uniforms, sometimes they make your lunch. But they all have one thing in common. They protect the people they love." The gymnasium erupted in applause, but the loudest clap came from Madison Walsh, who had learned that real friendship meant supporting others, not tearing them down. After the ceremony, Dave and Emma walked home together, just as they did every day. But now Emma walked with her head high, proud of who she was and where she came from. "Dad," she said, "can I ask you something?" "Anything, sweetheart." "Do you think Mom would be proud of us?" Dave stopped walking and knelt down to his daughter's level. "Emma, your mom is watching us every day, and yes, she's incredibly proud of the strong, kind woman you're becoming." As they continued home, Dave reflected on the past year. The assembly had been a turning point not just for Emma, but for him too. He'd learned that his greatest mission wasn't overseas. It was right here, raising a daughter who would grow up to be a protector herself. The small town had learned something too, that the quiet man who lived on Maple Street wasn't someone to be feared or pitied. He was someone to be respected, and, when necessary, someone they could count on to protect what mattered most, because the best soldiers never really retire. They just find new missions. And Master Sergeant David Patterson had found his, being the father his daughter deserved and teaching a community what real honor looked like. If this story touched you, subscribe to Real Talk Tales and hit that like button.